Fox 32 has information indicating the FBI has launched an investigation into controversial Dalton Mayor Tiffany Henyard.
Dane Placco has been following allegations of her misspending and joins us now with an update. Dane.
The store can't hit to the gas station.
Millions of dollars stashed away, a lavish lifestyle built on deception, and now the long-awaited fall from grace. Tiffany Henyard, once known as the super mayor, has finally surrendered after an FBI raid exposed her hidden secret. While her town struggled with crippling debt, Henyard was living like royalty. Her extravagant, jet-set lifestyle, funded by taxpayer dollars, has now come crashing down, and she could be facing up to 25 years in prison. This scandal is about to expose everything. Tiffany Henyard, once the seemingly untouchable super mayor of South Chicago, is now staring down 22 federal charges. This isn't just your run-of-the-mill corruption. This involves millions in taxpayer funds allegedly mismanaged and outright concealed. The FBI had been tracking her for months, and after issuing subpoenas and hearing whispers behind closed doors, they finally took action. But what makes this sting even more is that this isn't Henyard's first brush with the law. Previously, it was a case of vehicle trespassing. Now, she's facing a barrage of charges that all but guarantee significant prison time. Henyard doesn't care neither for her town's residents nor its finances. While Dalton, Illinois sank into debt, she paraded around in a taxpayer-funded motorcade, flaunting her authority as if the town was her personal playground.
It's on his live. All the evidence is on this boy's live. Okay. He said, "Oh, I got him now. I'm gonna pull up now," and jumped out. He jumped off the car. He was recording it with his phone. Walked up to our car, and then we was bagging out. We pulled over right here. And it should be on their cameras too, so you'll see.
I'm happy that justice is...
The extent of her mismanagement is jaw-dropping. Henyard reportedly transformed Dalton's public funds into her personal spending account. How does a town go from thriving to broke in just a year? 2 words: Mayor Moneybags. Henyard wasn't just living large, she was indulging on an extravagant scale, all on Dalton's dime. While the people of Dalton were struggling to stay afloat, their mayor acted as if she'd hit the jackpot. Picture this: on September 1st, 2023, she went on a $7,700 shopping spree at Target, Walgreens, and Wayfair, all in a single day. This wasn't mere retail therapy, it was an all-out shopping blitz. And who was picking up the tab? That's right, the hard-working taxpayers of Dalton. And it didn't stop at shopping sprees. Henyard wasn't about to settle for economy-class flights like the rest of us. No, she insisted on first-class travel and, naturally, hired a professional hair and makeup team because apparently running a town into the ground requires looking flawless around the clock. If you're wondering just how out of control things got, consider this: within a single year, Henyard's administration racked up over $102,000 in travel expenses. Dalton's budget, which had once enjoyed a $5.6 million surplus, plunged to $3.6 million in debt in just 1 year.
We needed those officers to be on the street fighting crime. And instead, we have several officers that are riding around protecting.
While Dalton spiraled into financial ruin faster than a contestant losing on a game show, Henyard continued to live it up like a real housewife of Illinois. Public outrage reached such a fever pitch that officials had to ban her from using the town's credit cards for unapproved purchases. And if you thought the shopping spree was excessive, hold on tight, we're about to take a detour down Mama Henyard's driveway, which, as it turns out, is paved with more than just good intentions. Henyard wasn't just splurging on herself, she extended the generosity to her family as well. And by generosity, we mean taxpayer dollars flowing freely. We're talking about a staggering $561,000 spent on repaving her mother's driveway. Yes, you heard that right, over $500,000 for a single driveway. But Dalton's diva didn't stop at family home improvements. Oh no, she went further and decided that the town's police force would make for a great personal security team. Who needs officers patrolling the streets when they can chauffeur the mayor around? While the residents of Dalton wondered where all the cops had gone, Henyard had them running errands like her personal assistants. A former police chief even spilled the details. While Henyard lived as though she had her own private secret service, the rest of Dalton was left asking if anyone would respond to a 911 call. But a little thing like rules wasn't about to rain on Tiffany's parade. Even after her spending privileges were cut off, she kept the party going, acting as if being mayor made her the queen of her own private kingdom. Despite being blocked by the Illinois State Comptroller for reckless spending, Henyard still managed to throw a lavish event for the suburban town. She spent $50,000 on just 1 hour of performances. Key Wyatt and Jay Holiday pocketed $30,000 and $20,000, respectively, for half-hour sets. And if that wasn't outrageous enough, an additional $36,000 went toward sound systems, staff, equipment, comedians. Meanwhile, residents like Jennifer Roberts were furious. For bounce houses. She told WGN9, "That's my money. That's the people's money." Former trustee Valeria Stubbs didn't hold back either, calling the event a complete failure, with only about 70 people attending. Stubbs was blunt. "She loves to use our tax dollars to promote herself." Another resident, Sherry Britton, agreed, stating that Henyard wasn't going to back down without a fight. "Tiffany is a narcissist. She'll do whatever she wants. This won't stop until she's in handcuffs." While all eyes were on the FBI and angry taxpayers, they missed the real plot twist. Remember that quiet assistant always trailing behind Henyard? It turns out she was the one holding the matches that would ignite the whole scandal. Meet Carmen Carlisle, Tiffany Henyard's former right-hand woman. Carlisle was Henyard's trusted ally, the one who knew all the secrets, figuratively speaking, of course. But something changed. Maybe it was a guilty conscience, or maybe she was just tired of watching Dalton get bled dry. Whatever the reason, Carlisle decided it was time to spill the beans. She went from fetching coffee to dropping bombshells on Henyard's entire operation. For 2 years, Carlisle had a front-row seat to all of Henyard's antics, and she had seen enough to make your head spin. Carlisle marched straight to the feds, armed with a pile of receipts taller than Henyard's ego. She revealed everything: how Henyard had been running Dalton like her own personal piggy bank, manipulating employees, vendors, and residents, all while flashing that $1 million smile for the cameras. In Carlisle's own words, for the past 2 years, Henyard has manipulated employees, vendors, and residents, using her position to expand her influence while projecting a false image of success, funded by the hard-working taxpayers of Thornton Township and the village of Dalton. After Carlisle started cooperating, things took a dark turn. She was physically attacked. While no fingers have been officially pointed, word on the street is that Henyard may have had a hand in it. But Carlisle wasn't the only one jumping ship. Remember Keith Freeman, Henyard's former aide? Well, he's facing some serious trouble of his own, caught up in charges of bankruptcy fraud. But here's the kicker: rumor has it that he's cooperating with the FBI as well. Henyard has a history of intimidating trustees, silencing anyone who tries to reveal her shady practices, and when firing them didn't work, she used taxpayer dollars to keep herself constantly in the limelight. Literally, her image is everywhere, from billboards to government buildings, like something straight out of a dystopian nightmare. But the real tragedy goes beyond financial harm. People's lives are being torn apart. Victims of her misconduct are finally speaking out, sharing heartbreaking accounts of financial ruin and the intimidation tactics she used to maintain control. This isn't just about a corrupt mayor, this is about a woman who has turned an entire community upside down. Just when Henyard thought she had escaped serious consequences, she found herself in even deeper trouble. The FBI doesn't mess around with small-time corruption, so the real question is just how much money is involved here. Word on the street is that the feds are digging deep into Henyard's financial dealings, and they're not taking any chances. Subpoenas are flying, demanding everything from credit card records to personnel files. The drama began when the FBI started investigating Dalton's town hall. And no, they weren't there for a friendly chat. Armed with legal documents, they were ready to trace every penny Henyard might have misplaced. These subpoenas are exposing every aspect of her extravagant lifestyle, from the luxury trips she took to the security detail that followed her everywhere as if she were a celebrity. Every dollar that may have slipped from the town's budget into her designer handbag is now under scrutiny. But the FBI isn't stopping at Henyard's official business. They're digging into her personal life as well. Even her beloved cancer charity is under investigation. Her political action committee? The feds want to look at those finances too. They're also scrutinizing her private business ventures. It's like the FBI is piecing together a financial puzzle, and the emerging picture isn't flattering for Henyard. Trustee Britt Norwood shared her frustrations, saying, "We've been asking for someone to come help us. There's been a lot of spending that we're not privy to, and we've been demanding answers. It seems like the town's cries for help have finally been heard by the FBI. But the feds aren't just focused on Henyard, they're casting a wide net, pulling in her political allies and anyone who might have had their hands in the cookie jar. Word is that the FBI is using advanced surveillance technology to monitor any sneaky moves Henyard and her circle might try to pull off. Meanwhile, with all this chaos unfolding, Henyard remains seated in the mayor's office as if everything is perfectly normal. Can you believe it? The feds are closing in. The town is in uproar, and she's carrying on like it's business as usual. People in Dalton are getting restless, wondering why justice seems to be dragging its feet. They've watched their town deteriorate while Henyard lives in luxury, as if she's starring in some kind of reality show. Just when everyone thought she would continue to fight, Henyard played the ultimate Uno reverse card. Picture this: with the FBI closing in and her inner circle falling apart, Henyard suddenly decides to turn herself in. What could make a small-town mayor with a taste for luxury choose a jail cell over her lavish lifestyle? Yes, Tiffany reportedly walked right into the FBI's hands. Can you believe it? One minute she's pretending like everything's fine, and the next she's surrendering as if it's no big deal. Word around town is that Henyard has a plan up her sleeve. Some speculate that Henyard is trying to cut a deal with the feds, hoping for leniency by offering up information on her co-conspirators. But her surrender isn't just about her, it's about the entire town of Dalton. Residents have been holding their breath, waiting for justice to finally arrive, and it made quite the entrance. Remember how Henyard was living the high life? Well, now it looks like she's traded her designer clothes for a prison jumpsuit. Quite a contrast from the first-class flights and personal makeup artists she used to enjoy. To make matters worse, her own lawyer has just walked away from the case. That's right, she can't even afford her legal fees anymore. Ironic, considering she was pulling in over $220,000 a year. How did she end up here? Well, she inherited a cushy township supervisor position that came with a hefty paycheck. And in true Henyard fashion, she tried to rig the system by passing a shady ordinance that slashed the next supervisor's salary to just $25,000, ensuring no one would challenge her position. That's the level of control she was trying to maintain. The anger in Dalton has been simmering for years. Residents have held rallies demanding justice, and things have gotten so bad that they've called in Lori Lightfoot to help clean up the mess for $400 an hour. Let that sink in. How desperate must a town be to call on the former mayor of Chicago just to help fix their crumbling community? Henyard's lavish spending and disregard for the law didn't go unnoticed for long. With Dalton's debt nearing $20 million, residents are desperate for someone to save them from the chaos. And let's not forget the millions that are still unaccounted for. Henyard turning herself in doesn't mean the missing money is going to magically reappear. The town is still in a financial crisis, and people are wondering if they'll ever see any of that cash again. This is the same mayor who once spent $40,000 on Amazon in a single day, and now she's under federal investigation. The Illinois State Comptroller even cut off $135,000 in state payments to Dalton, money the town desperately needed. And it's not just financial scandals Henyard is dealing with. She's facing a lawsuit from former employee Dwayne Thrash, who claims he was fired for refusing to participate in one of Henyard's schemes. Some Dalton residents are actually breathing a sigh of relief. Can you imagine being so fed up with your mayor that seeing her in handcuffs brings you joy? It's like the whole town has been living under a dark cloud, and now they're finally seeing a glimmer of hope. Henyard's downfall isn't just about money. Her reputation is in shambles, with allegations of sexual misconduct during city trips, wrongful terminations, and even accusations of sexual assault against employees. But here's where things get complicated. It's still unclear whether Henyard has actually turned herself in. Some are speculating she might be trying to play the system, angling for a deal or protecting someone higher up. And while no one is certain if she's behind bars yet, residents are hopeful it won't be long. Comments like "Why isn't this woman in jail?" and "Why is she still mayor?" are becoming more frequent as the pressure mounts. One thing is clear: Tiffany Henyard isn't backing down easily, and the fight is far from over. So what's next for Dalton? That's the million-dollar question. With their mayor behind bars and their finances in shambles, the town has a long road ahead. But for the first time in a long while, there's a sense of hope in the air. It's as if Dalton can finally begin to heal now that the queen of corruption is out of the picture. Let us know your thoughts and stay tuned for more updates.